Hello, everybody. Hello. This is Professor Jason Kim, and at this video, we're going to talk about solving linear inequality using addition and subtraction. Now, linear means highest power is 1 power. Inequality is not equal. So in regular equation, let's say x plus x minus 5 equals 7, then you add 5 in both sides, so x become 12. So value of x, if you draw in a number line, is, let's say, here is 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you put that there. So you have a one value on one answer for every x on the equations. Okay, so equation means it has access to be exactly one value. Now, inequality is, for example, let's say you have x minus 5. X minus 5 is bigger than, let's say, 7. That means it's not equal, it's bigger. So inequality gives you the range of the answers. And equation give you one answer. So if I solve this inequality, the way you do the process are exactly the same, but as an equation, so you add 5 in both sides, so cancel out, x is become bigger than 12. But the sign represent bigger. This open side is bigger than, so the way you read this is x is bigger than 12. So in number line graph, here is 0, and here is 12 again. Then you make open circle, and then you show the direction. Any value bigger than 12 satisfies this inequality. And if you have x minus 5 is bigger than equal to 7, so you have an equal here, then in the number line 0 and 12, instead of open circle, you will have closed the circle and goes like this. Any value including 12. So value of x satisfy this condition is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So x could be 12, 13, and on and on and on. Compared to x is bigger than 12 is anything bigger than 12, not including 12. Okay, so x could be 13, 14, and on and on and on. Okay, so that's the just short comparison between equation, which has only one answer for x, and inequality, which has a range of answers for the x's. Just quick differences. But again, what they're trying to say is you can solve this by using same method as solving an equation. So in addition property of inequality is if A is bigger than B, A plus C is also bigger than B plus C. So if 5 is bigger than 2, then 5 plus 3 is bigger than 2 plus 3 all the time, which is 8 is bigger than 5 in this case. So now, first of all, you have to know how to read inequalities. So when you see this, you always read left to right. So you read -2 is lesser. So this symbol or this sign give you less than, and this give you more than, and this is less than equal, and this give you more than equal. So instead of two line, you use only one line at this inequality. So now going back to number one, -2 is lesser than 5, which is true. -2 is lesser than 5. Number two is the way you read it is 6 is greater than 2 or larger than 2. Does that make sense? Yeah. How about number 3? How can we read number 3? Can you read number 3? Yeah, you're right. So 5 is lesser than or equal to x. Because you have a line on the bottom of the sign. That line, one line is like equal. Now, can you read number 4? Yes, you're right. X is greater than or equal to -4. Okay, so that's how you read it. You read from left to right, and you have to memorize that which sign represent lesser than, or which sign represent more than, which sign represent lesser than or equal, or which sign represent more than equal. So how about actual value? How do you graph on the number line? So when you have x is lesser than 3, so lesser means going toward any value that going left of that critical value. Critical value is like 3 here. So the way you represent in the number line is this. On the number line, you identify critical point 3 and you make open circle. So when you have this is open circle. When you have dark one, we call closed circle. Means you are including the number you're at, and open means not include the number, critical number that you're at. So possible value of this symbol, x is less than 3, would be like 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. Those are the all possible values that satisfy this inequality. Number 2, x is lesser than equal to -1. That means including 1. So you use the closed circle. And then less means going to left side again. So the arrow point out the left side. So left side from critical point -1. Okay. How about number 3? How do you represent in number line when you have x is bigger than 2? So you, on the number line, you locate critical point 2, and greater means right side. And since is just greater than, not including 2, you use the open circle. Okay. So possible value that satisfy this x is greater than 2 means 3, 4, 5, and on and on and on. So you get a range of the value that satisfy these inequalities. Number 4, the way you read this inequality is x is bigger than equal to -1. So it's bigger than equal to, so because of equal, you use the dark circle, and then bigger means move to the right side, any value in right side of that critical value, including -1, okay, because of equal sign under the sign. Okay, so that's how you graphing these values or solutions. Now, in example 3, they want us to solve the inequalities. So it's like a solving equation, same thing, but the result will get the inequality format. So solve and graph x plus 2 is bigger than or greater than 5. So solve means the x alone on the left side of this symbol and everything else in the right side of this symbol. So you do the inverse operation like you did on equation. So x is bigger than 5 minus 2, which is 3. So that becomes solution of this inequality. Okay, and because you don't have only one value, you have a range of the value, you cannot write all of the number. So that's why you express in this format. And then the way you draw a graph on the number line is always try to indicate the 0 and 1, 2, 3. Here is a 3 critical point. It's bigger, not including it. So you use open circle. Bigger means going to the right side. Okay. And sometimes you have open circle, and then you just darken it with the arrow on it. Sometimes you write on the line. I like to put on the high up so it doesn't confuse with this number line. So I always do this way, then this way. Now, solving and graph next one. 3x plus 2 is greater than equal to 2x minus 1. So you do same way as solving an equation. Now you have 3x and 2x in both sides of the sign. Then which one do you think you need to move it? Yeah, smaller x. So you do minus 2x by doing inverse operation. Then you have x plus 2 is bigger than equal to -1. And you are trying to solve this inequality. So you have to move plus 2 to the other side by doing inverse. So minus 2 in both sides. X is greater than equal to -3. So that become a solution, range of the solutions for this particular inequality. And the way you draw the graph is first arrow with a line, with a 0, 1, 2, -3 here. Okay. And then because you have a equal line under it, equal, so you use closed circle or dark circle. Closed circle is more technical term. And bigger means going to the right side. So you, or greater means going to the right side. All the value on the right side satisfy this condition. So this is how you graph x is bigger than equal to -3. If you want to write down any particular answer, you could say x could be -3 and any value that's bigger than -3. So what are the possible values that are bigger than -3? It could be -2 because you have to move to the right side, -1, 0, 1, and on and on and on. But they usually do not ask this format. They usually ask in graphing format, but you should know both ways. Okay. Now, how about that was addition and subtraction. Now, how about solving a linear inequality using multiplication and division? So this is same as solving an equation, and same rule for multiplication property of equation and multiplication property of inequality are same. So if A is lesser than B, and as long as number that you're applying is positive, then A times C is lesser than B times C. But if number that you're multiplying is a negative, then sign changes. That's the one thing you have to be careful. Okay. So for example, let's say if you have 5 is bigger than 3, which is true, and you're multiplying 2 in both sides. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 times 2 is 6. The sign, direction of sign doesn't change. But let's say, same question, but you're multiplying negative 2. So if you multiply negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Now, which one is a bigger value, negative 10 or negative 6? Negative 6 is bigger because that's close to 0. So what happened to your sign? Sign changed from original is bigger, greater, and then because you multiply negative number or divide by negative number, sign changes. Direction of the sign changes. So making sure you recognize this. Okay. They hardly ask this way, but when they ask it, you have to know that you change your sign when you multiply or divide by negative value in inequality. Okay. Now let's do some example in regular one and negative ones. So number one, you have 2x is bigger than 6. So what do you call this format? We call inequality because of this symbol. Now solve this inequality. So you divide both sides by number in front of x to get x alone, only one x. So when you do that, x is greater than 3. So what does that mean, x is greater than 3? That means value of x is or has any value bigger than 3. Okay. So what value is bigger than 3? Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So how do you graph this? Starting from 0, you locate critical value 3. See if they are, this one has including or not including, which means either you have a equal sign on the sign. They don't have equal sign, so you use open circle. Greater than means going to the right direction. So that's the graph of this particular question. Okay. But in number 2, if you have a negative 2x is lesser than equal to 6. Now, to solve for x, you divide both sides by negative 2. But one of the rule we had was when you divide or multiply by negative number, sign, direction of sign changes. So instead of lesser than equal to, it become bigger than equal to. And negative 2 and negative 2 cancel out. You have x is bigger than equal to negative 3. Or greater than equal to negative 3. So sign changes because you are multiply or divide by negative 1. And graphing this is starting from 0, where starting from 0 here, because I know we're supposed to indicate the negative value. So here is a 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So you use close circle because you have an equal sign under it. Okay, close circle. And bigger means, larger means going to the right side. So that's how you graph this particular range of answers in inequality. Does that make sense? Now, number 3, you have 3/4 x is bigger than or equal to 3. How do you solve when there is a fractional coefficient, numerical coefficient in front of x? To get rid of this numerical coefficient, you multiply both sides by reciprocal of this fraction, which means upside down of this fraction. Okay, so you multiply 4/3 times 3/4 x is bigger than or equal to 4/3 times 3. Notice that 3 becomes 3/1 to show in fractional format. And then when you do this, it automatically cancels 3, 3, and 4, 4. So x is greater than 12/3. Okay. So what is 12/3? 12/3 is 4. So it's same as x is greater than 4. So how do you graph this x is greater than 4? Well, so you have to make a number line first. Here is a 0. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Identify the critical point 4. And you have to decide that you're going to use the open circle or a closed circle. Do we use open circle or a closed circle? Open circle, yay! How do you know that? Because they don't have a equal sign under the sign. There is no line under the sign, so it's open circle. Bigger than means right side, so you graph like this. Okay. Oh, in original question, you had equal sign. I missed it. That means, I have to make a closed circle because of equal sign. Any question? So number 4, you have negative x over 3 is bigger than or equal to 2, which means negative 1/3 x is greater than or equal to 2. Because x over 3 means 1x over 3, which come down like this. The reason why I make a 1/3 is because I need to multiply by reciprocal of this 1/3 to get rid from the x's. Get rid of this number from the x's. So what is reciprocal of negative 1/3? Negative 3/1. So you multiply negative 3/1 to negative 1/3 x, because you have to include the sign, negative, and negative 3/1 times 2. So when you do that, these fractions cancel out. But when you multiply negative, sign changes. So you make sure you change the sign. So x is less than or equal to negative 6. It's a negative 6/1, but you don't put 1, so negative 6. So how do you graph this? Well, starting from 0, negative 6 is about this. Do I use closed circle or open circle? That means, do I have line under it or not? It does, so closed circle. And then lesser than means left side. Direction of the left side, all the value in the left side. So that's how you graph this, and that's how you solve for this particular question. Now let's do something more complicated, which is solving inequality by combining like terms. Yeah, do you remember that there was x in a both sides of equal sign, or you have more than one x in the same side of equal sign? So we are doing same way in that case when it happened in the inequality. So inequality is almost, the process of solving inequality is almost same as solving an equation, except sign changes into the other direction when you multiply and divide by negative 1. Okay? So let's look at this. Number one, solve and graph 4x minus 10 is bigger than or equal to 2x plus 2. So you have x in both sides of this sign. So the thumb of the rule was to move the smaller x, right? So you take away 2x because 2x is smaller than 4x. So you got 2x minus 10 is greater than or equal to 2. And to solve for x, you move plus and minus first. So plus 10 to have an inverse operation. You have 2x is greater than or equal to 12. And to solve for x, but not 2x, is divide both sides by 2. And x is greater than or equal to 6. So that is your solution. And graphing them is starting from 0, approximate 6. You have to decide you're going to have open circle or closed circle. Because you have a line under it equal under the sign, so you use closed circle. And then bigger than means right side direction. So that's how you graph this. So there are a few things you have to memorize it. Okay, like deciding closed a circle or open circle by either you have an equal sign under it or not. And bigger means moving to the right direction, and lesser means moving to the left side direction. So those are the few things you have to memorize additionally. Not including the divide by negative means changing a sign, direction of the sign. So let's do one more question. Let's say you have number 2, 3 minus 5x is lesser than negative 9 minus 2x. So you have x in both sides. So you have to move the smaller x. So here you are testing which one is smaller, negative 5x is smaller or negative 2x is smaller. In negative number, whatever the close to 0 is larger value. So negative 5 is smaller. So how do you move negative 5? You add 5 in both sides because you have to do inverse of negative 5x. Then you got 3 is lesser than negative 9 plus 3x. Again, you have an x on the right side. What do you do? Right side of sign. What do you do? X has to be on the left side. So all you have to do is just switch them. Okay, so you can switch at this point, or you can do further and switch it. I like to do switch at this point. So negative 9 plus 3x. When you switch it, the direction follows it. So direction also switched as a result. So the way you read first one was 3 is less than negative 9 plus 3x. After you switch it, the way you read it is negative 9 plus 3x is larger than 3. Okay? And then you want to solve for x. So you have to get rid of minus 9. So if you do inverse operation, plus 9 in both sides, you get 3x is bigger than 12. And then next step would be divide both sides by number in front of x, okay, which is 3 in this case. So if you do that, divide by 3 and divide by 3, you have x is bigger than 4. So that becomes your solution for this inequality. Graphing that is find the critical value for, which is 4 in this case. You have to make a decision for either open circle or closed circle. Right now, I don't have a equal sign under the sign. So it's open circle. And then direction would be right side because bigger is always right side. So this is how you draw a graph. Any question on number 2? Now let's do another one that is a little more complicated. Fractional equation. Fractional inequality in this case, rather. So fractional inequality, that means you have a fraction in both sides with many terms. Then you multiply by what? You multiply by LCD. Remember that? When you have a fractional equation, you must multiply by LCD. So in this case, you multiply by LCD, which is 6 in every single term. So from 2x, half x plus 3 is bigger than equal to 1/3 x plus 2. Now you multiply 6 in each term. 6 times half x plus 6 times 3 is bigger than equal to 6 times 1/3 x plus 6 times 2. Okay? And this 2 and 6 cancel out as a 3. So you end up with a 3x. And 6 times 3 is 18. Bigger than equal to. This 3 and this 6 go into 6 2 times. So 2x plus 6 times 2 is 12. So this fractional equation turning into 3x plus 18 is larger than equal to 2x plus 12. So you get this particular equation. And then you just solve it. You solve 3x plus 18 is greater than equal to 2x plus 12. So now you have again x in both sides. So what do? You move the small x. So minus 2x in both sides. And you continue to solve this. So that's in here. When you minus 2 in both sides, you got 1x plus 18 is greater than, cancel this one out, so you got 12. And then you minus 12 in both sides, your x is bigger than negative 6, because 12 minus 18 is negative 6. Now, can you graph this? Yeah, you identify negative 6, and then you use the closed circle because you have an equal sign under the sign, and then bigger than means right direction. So that's how you graph them. Okay. When you do step by step, that's easy, right? Yeah. Now, next one, what if you have parentheses? Well, same thing as equation. When you have a parenthesis and inside a parenthesis you have plus and minus, then you distribute them. So 2 times x is 2x, minus 2 times 3 is 6, is less than equal to negative 2. So you get this equation. Solve this inequality, plus 6 in both sides to get rid of negative 6. So 2x is lesser than 4. Divide both sides by 2 to get x alone. You got x is lesser than 2. So the way you graph is this. X is lesser than 2. So open circle with the left side direction. That makes sense, right? Now, number 5. What if you have negative 5 in front of a quantity? You distribute negative 5 with x is negative 5x, plus negative 5 with a negative 2 is positive 10. So negative 5x plus 10 is less than equal to, now you combine this x with this x. When you have x in the same side, you combine them. Negative 3x with negative 2x is negative 5x. So you got negative 5x here plus 5. So in this particular one, you have a negative 5 and negative 5. So you add positive 5 on both sides. You cancel out. X is lesser than equal to 10 is lesser than, rather 10 is less than equal to 5 because both of them cancel out in this particular inequality. So now remember that in equation we have x cancel out. You could have true statement and or false statement. So in this case, 10 is not less than equal to 5, so it's a false statement. So that means no solution. So answer become no solution. Okay. Now compared to that, number 6, when you do this question, you get 4x plus 12 is greater than 4x minus 8. When you do the minus 4x on both sides, 12 is bigger than negative 8, which is true statement. So when you have a true statement, many answers. So answer for number 6 is many solutions. Compared to answer for number 5 is no solutions. Okay. Now that's it for this video. Please do your homework exercise for this topic. I will see you in next video. Good job, everybody. Bye.